It's like basically like we always looked at Devourment as just like another really like important band for us that was just like up with one of the, for us we were just like, dude, they're so fucking rad, like, and they're from Texas and they're like that sound, and then of course there's been a million bands since then that like these guys are great, like Stabbing and all these great Texas bands and all this, but like Devourment was like 20 years ago for us, like, super important and shit. And so I just would love to hear, and I know that you guys were doing shit in the fucking early 90s and stuff and mid 90s, and I just want to like get to that, like, because we all have like these like rad similar influences, and but our art comes out in whatever way, and I love how it's different, like I love how Devourment was to us just this different thing, and it was like they're so fucking brutal and fucking all that. So I just would love to hear like how like that led you to, or how that came about, and what was just Devourment, dude.
Thanks. Devourment came about because I was in another band, or in bands, when I first got out of high school. I moved to Dallas, to Denton, Texas, to go to college, and I was like, I want to play death metal. I got to start a band or something. I found this band looking for a drummer when I was like 19 or 20. They were all older than me, and they were playing like like old school, like death, spiritual healing type stuff, and they were called Kill Switch, and I was which was an awesome name for the time. And then I like, so I joined them. I was like the kid, the new drummer, and I like started trying to influence them to get heavier and heavier and play like, hey, have you heard this? Have you heard Cannibal Corpse? Have you heard this Deicide Legion record? It's pretty heavy, man. You might like it. Sick. And started trying to like work my way into it, and then soon, I met up with some different people that evolved and became this band called Necrocide, which I also named. Yes, that's a cool name. It means the death. It's the death of death. It's pretty stupid. I was like, what's more death metal than killing death, dude?
Killing death. So does the death of death equal life then?
I guess so, dude.
Or or something. Yeah,
or immortality, dude. If
you're double negative,
death, there's no way to die.
Yeah. So, and what spurred that on was like, when I heard, like I mentioned before, when I heard Tomb of the Mutilated, that was the record that like opened my eyes completely to what death metal, how heavy and how extreme death metal can be. And that was all I cared about at that point. Because previously, I was listening to Death and Morbid and Deicide and Malevolent Creation stuff, and loved all that stuff. It was amazing. But then Tomb was this other thing. Cannibal was this other thing. I was like, I've never heard anything like that. The production, the guitars, the riffs, the vocals, the most disgusting shit I've ever heard. And I was like, all right, let's do that. So we were basically like a Cannibal-ish ripoff in the beginning, because I mean that's what you do, right? You have your influences and you kind of emulate them when you're younger until you find your voice or whatever. And like you mentioned, that you take those and you filter them through your own lens, and it kind of comes out different. So that's what happened with the Necrocide. And then that band started fizzling out, and I was like, you know what? All right, I'm listening to all these new bands now at the time, like Dying Fetus and Scattered Remnants and Repudiation and this ultra brutal stuff that that I'm just soaking in, and Wicked Innocence and all this random stuff that I never heard, Cephalic Carnage. And I was like, I have a singular vision that I want to take this, I want to make music like this, and I want to be the most brutal, heaviest, disgusting, most extreme band on the planet. Not because it's like a competition or I'm trying to be cool or anything, because I listen to all these bands and I love them, but there was no band that like in my head was like the perfect band that I wanted to hear. So I literally just came up with this idea of like, I'll take all these things and Frankenstein this thing into the thing I want to hear that I don't hear that anyone doing exactly how I want it done.